Today, we are reviewing two magnetic neck mounts. One from Telesin and one from Ulanzi. Many of you guys have questions after watching my Telesin review whether this particular Ulanzi model is better than the Telesin one. Well, in this video, we're going to break down their differences and find out if one is better than the other. Before we continue, just a light disclaimer. Now, the model that I have for the Ulanzi one is the action camera model, while the one on the Telesin one is actually a MagSafe mobile version. Now, Telesin has different versions for this, such as the action camera and another one which comes in black called the SE. We will not be comparing their mounts, but rather on the collar design to see which one is more comfortable and more practical in my opinion. Now let's touch about their aesthetics and design. Starting with the Ulanzi one. This Ulanzi one, you can see there are actually two colors, the red and the black. Now the black itself is just the frame of the neck mount itself, but the red portions are actually ergonomically designed. If you can see up close, these red portions are actually larger to be able to help you to sit around your neck. At the back, they are actually this perforated or spiky texture, preventing the neck mount from slipping off. Moving down to the pendant area, there's this button over here which you can press to unlock the camera mount. This whole camera mount does not come with this phone mount itself, so you only just get this bottom portion over here. But taking a closer look, this is actually one part of the magnet. So putting it back in, you can actually hear a very satisfying click. The top button, on the other hand, unlatches one of the collars, the left side to be particular. And what can you do with this collar? You can actually curl it to make it a more pocketable size. The Telesin one, on the other hand, is actually made out of this grey material. Just one large grey material. Now at the sides, it's also slightly larger over here for the neck collar areas. And at the back, instead of the spikes, they have these lines over here, which gives you better grip behind your neck. Moving down to its pendant area, the pendant area is obviously slightly larger than the Ulanzi one. But taking a closer look, you actually have this large, nice button over here, which actually unlatches the right side. And once you put it back in, there's also this very satisfying click, but even louder than the Ulanzi one. Now what I have here is actually the magnetic mount for the MagSafe phones. So it's actually really stiff. Something which I really like as it prevents it from flailing. I keep getting this wrong. Now if you're getting this for the action camera version, they do not have another button, but just the locking mechanism. So in the area of locking, I think the Ulanzi does have a slight edge. Oh, one more thing which I forgot. Behind this neck mount itself, there's this little air cushion that once you put this around your neck, softens up the vibrations when you're moving around, which I think is a brilliant idea. Now let's try to mount them up, starting with the Ulanzi one. Okay, I think it's easier to compare using portrait mode, so let's do the portrait mode instead. So this is the Ulanzi neck mount. Now let's go and get my Telesin phone mount. So anyway, since we are here, let me just show you this my backpack. And we are in this little water fountain area called Marina Barrage. Okay, now let's detach this. And curl it up. And just press the button over here to detach one side. So this is the neck mount. Alright, so now let's keep this inside the bag. Okay, so this is my Manfrotto bag. If you guys haven't commented on what you feel about this Manfrotto bag, please do. Yeah, I just recently got this and really like all the features of it. Now, if so far you find that both of them are quite similar, guess what? You are right, in three particular areas. Number one is that they have their own quick release system. Now, the one on the Ulanzi over here is actually called the Quick 2 Quick Release. Now this might be quite familiar to you guys because a lot of their Ulanzi products actually have this integrated in. The one that I previously had is just called the Quick Release 1, and this one is the Quick Release 2. Whereas the Telesin, for the action camera model, not this one, is actually called Kada, which basically just allows you to change between different systems, just like how the Ulanzi does. The second, you've probably seen, is how it actually is able to curl to a pocketable size. Okay, you can see, both of them can become such a small size. Number 3 is actually its price. Both of them come in at about $28 exactly. Of course, if you have different models, it will come in slightly more expensive, such as this one. It will just come in $3 more, if I'm not wrong. Since we have already talked about the similarities, are there differences? Definitely. There are actually 3 of them. Number 1 is the shape of their pendant. Now you can see up close, the Telesin one is bigger. The Ulanzi one is smaller and actually more squarish in design. Compared with the Telesin one, it's actually rounder, which isn't a bad thing. I feel that having it being bigger has a larger surface area on your body, so it actually softens the motion a little bit more. Number 2 is their locking mechanism. As mentioned in the similarities, this is also where they are different. The one, the Ulanzi over here, has a button at the side, while the one for the Telesin one, the action camera version, does not. You're just twisting and locking it in, making this one slightly more secure. The third difference is actually their weight. Okay, much easier to hold. Now, the Ulanzi one comes in at about 180 grams, while this one comes in at about 220 grams, depending on which variant you go for. In my opinion, it isn't that noticeable. But of course, you're someone who tends to bring a lot on your shoots and want to keep things light, then this will be a factor. Now, let's conclude. Which one should you go for? There are actually 2 deciding factors: colors and pendant design. Now, the first one is, which color do you like? Now, it might seem so superficial, but actually they are limited in their colors. The Ulanzi is red and black, while the Telesin is in grey, or they have actually another black version. With aesthetics out of the way, let's talk about their pendant design. Now, the pendant for the Telesin one is a little bigger, but has the cushion, while the Ulanzi one does not have the cushion, but has 2 quick release buttons, one at the top and one at the side over here. And if you are going back to the weight, this is lighter, albeit the Telesin one is just one nice design without having 2 different colors or materials. Now, I know this will not make it easier for you to choose, but in my honest opinion, there isn't that much of a difference. It actually comes down to brand loyalty. For me personally, I have a lot of Ulanzi products, so having the aesthetics of this red and black color just goes well with my other accessories. But if you are just mainly shooting with phone, the Telesin one does have this advantage, as the Ulanzi one does not have a MagSafe dedicated phone mount such as this. So, what do you guys think? Do you prefer the Ulanzi one or the Telesin one? I'm curious. Let me know down in the comments below. If not, see you guys in the next video.